was living this high status lifestyle, um, but it was really exhausting.
Yeah, man, I'll be honest. There were times when I'd get up out of bed and just kind of go like, what's going on? Is that there was something in me for some reason over here was like, there's something more to life for you right now. Cool. All right. So we're kicking off actually this very first episode of AGAME Mindset, and that's with Alex Portugal here. And I got a guest here, a good friend of mine, a fellow entrepreneur, and a just a fellow badass all around. I've got Chris Holmes here with me presently, and I'm actually just gonna read this off of one of your businesses, the Hustling Homes one. And I'm going to read it straight out because I actually really, really like it. And it goes, I'm building businesses, brands, and a real estate empire from the ground up and streaming the whole dang process. No fluff, no filters, just the raw journey of what it actually takes to win in sales, real estate, systems, and entrepreneurship. If you're tired of fake gurus and want to see the real work, this show might be for you. That's awesome. From the words and the mouth of Chris Holmes himself. Welcome, brother, to my show. Happy Friday. And yeah, man, it's good to see you with the smile on your face.
Hey, Alex, thank you, man. What an introduction. That was profound. I'm happy to be here and happy to have this time with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a quick little 30,000 foot drop of you and I. We met last year on an offer with a company, and you stepped in prior to me in the sales space and since moved yourself up into some departments within the company. And I stepped in. You were the very first person that I met. You interviewed me, and I knew right then and there, I was like, all right, I like this dude, right? And I knew that I wanted to work with you because I didn't really know the company. And quickly right after, I was hired. And so I came in on the sales space as well. And I put in a little bit of time. And it's interesting because I recall last year, the only person that I communicated with in my sales journey with that company was you. And very quickly, right off the bat, you and I got real, right? I mean, we got so real, we talked about God, right? And our faith. And I was like, okay, this is pretty badass right here, pretty raw and pretty straightforward. And I made a decision with the company. I stepped into some departments as well. And we worked together and we worked pretty closely, and we built a friendship through this business entity. And like anything, we experience the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, all things that are online business related. But I would say since then, for the audience, you and I no longer work with this company. All the best wishes to them. But one of the things that I could say for me that I got out of it, one of the top things that I got out of it was my relationship with you, first and foremost. It really shaped my life at the end of last year and the top of this year. And we'll dive into a little more specifics on that. But I want to say, man, when I do meet people that I connect with and speak with a lot, even late at night or early in the morning, I always know there's something special there, right? And one of the nice things about what I want to do, what I'm doing here with A Game isn't just the level of game that I enjoy playing and I enjoy playing with others at the highest, is the mindset behind all of that. Okay. And so a little later in this episode, I'm going to go over some questions that were asked of me. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to answer them on the podcast. And I'm also going to ask my guest, Chris, his take on these questions as well. And then we can kind of share on that. But with all of that said, Chris, officially on my podcast, I do want to say, man, from the bottom of my heart and the top of my mind, I appreciated the opportunity that you gave me last year, but more so the opportunity you gave me to be a friend, to be human with, and to know that I've got somebody on this planet that's got my back in more ways than one. So I wanted to officially, publicly say that to you. Thank you, brother, for being you and for also being on my show today.
Again, thank you for having me, and likewise, man, it's reciprocal. Misery loves company, as I love to say. We were actually having a lot of fun. It kind of got frustrating towards the end, and we had to move on. But yeah, man, the sentiments are mutual. They really are, Alex. I consider you a true friend, a brother in faith and execution as well. I mean, we made a lot of things happen. We met a lot of people. We had a big impact in what we were able to accomplish, there in that operation, at that venture. So super proud of what we've built, and man, I can't wait until we get to do our next podcast. Maybe it's in a year or a couple from now, but it's going to be really exciting being able to look back on today.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And just for the record, so it's clear for everybody out there, our viewers, we work specifically in the high ticket online sales vertical. Okay. And so we worked with a company that was putting an offer out there, and we were involved in the marketing, the sales, the operations, the automations. And we were responsible for just the flow of everything happening so that the company can generate revenue, pay clients, and help provide services and change people's lives. So it was specifically in the high ticket sales remote space. And I'm in it. I'm still in it. And I know that you've journeyed out, and I read one of the bios on one of your companies. And so I want to get really specific with you. I want to get in bed with you again, Chris, on this episode so that people can see what we're really talking about when we're talking about like that bromance. Um, and
Hey,
so
man,
somebody
sex sells, but
sex sells in certain cities.
hey, well, you're in the Big Apple, so I mean, they had all, what was it called again? Sex in the City.
Sex in this city. It was exactly that. In this city, it sells, but I don't know about Nebraska, or I don't know. But actually, I mean, do you want to share where you're coming from? Because you're in a unique place. You're not like in Nebraska right now. You're an international dude, man. You've been around. Why don't we kick it off, man, so people get a little better understanding of my guest? Give me again, really share with me what I know about you, but a little bit about your background, right? Which has placed you where you are presently today, in your career.
Yeah, sure. I grew up in Central Florida, moved to South Florida, shortly after graduating. Coming out of school and coming into a new market, a very Latin influenced market, um, just a much faster paced city. I specifically lived in Miami Beach, which is like the sixth borough. More New Yorkers there than I mean, you got people from all around the world, but I really gravitated towards guys that kind of moved at your speed. So it's not by any coincidence that we've met and connected. I've always just kind of operated at a faster speed. I started my first business when I was seven, literally 7 years old. Really cool story how it came about. Very organic. But basically, it was a lawn mowing business. Yes, at 7 years old, I was mowing lawns. I had three lawns on my street, close to my house, that I got to mow, and that really gave me a sense of introduction into responsibility and purpose and earning. Um, and it's just, man, it's just all been an exciting roller coaster ride since. I mean, I started my first real business. I mean, I had a lot of side hustles and things that I did to make money apart from mowing lawns, window cleaning. I made crafts, arts and crafts, and sold them door to door. I mean, I did all this as literally as a kid. Um, but when I was 12, I got into graphic design and then web design, and so I was really kind of at the forefront of the the online boom, And building websites for companies is how I really learned about all these different variables. And um, I got an opportunity to work for the government while I was still in high school. Ended up landing an internship with a local school board, and I did such a great job that they actually closed that opportunity for any students moving forward. So sucked for them, but for me, it was great. I landed a contract. They ended up hiring me after I graduated. I worked there for almost 5 years at the local school board, and getting to work in that kind of government. Government and corporate's a little bit different, but there's a lot of things that are related. In the way things operate, government's very structured, and it's very organized. And I think that that experience really set me up for the rest of my success to come in my life, as an entrepreneur. Um, and yeah, man, I guess I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
So stop me if you get a
Yeah.
chance.
No, one of the things that I know that you mentioned to me, and I'm glad that you're sharing it with the audience here, is one of the things that you and I, like, before we even spoke to each other, that I just knew we had a relationship, was just that work ethic, that integrity at a young age, right? And as I told you my story, I grew up in a small business. My mom and dad owned and operated a fine jewelry store. So as a little baby crying, I was always in the back room. So it was in my bones being an entrepreneur. And then as I moved up the ranks and started learning the business at age 10 with my dad as his dad and my great grandfather and great great grandfather, I became the sixth generation watchmaker jeweler. And back then I didn't really understand the weight of it, what it is to work, what it is to work with the family, and to pay bills, to be a part of, being a part of paying the bills. And that integrity that I came up, that I moved up the ranks with, really shaped my life. Those people shaped my life. My parents shaped my life, and I could see that you have that as well. You have that work ethic, and you and I really experienced each other's work ethics in that past offer that we were on, which brings us here today. And so that's something that I just find, I honor that, for people that have that in their lives. Obviously, these newer generations, and no disrespect to them, but there's just a lot of that missing and lacking, right? And the influence of social media and so forth, it is what it is. And I'm raising a teenager, but having that integrity, man, just goes a long way and is what brings not just value, but it brings a comfort, right? That you have it and that others that have it. And some of the questions that I chose to pull for this podcast with you are very specific to you and to me. And I want to get I want to bring the audience to a very effing real place that you and I have shared multiple times, like to the point where, I mean, I was in tears, bro. Like I was just like, this dude, man, like this cat is like next level. And I want to go there. Okay. I think it's fitting of who I am. I know it's fitting of who you are. And so I'm gonna jump in, bro. Are you cool? Are we all in? You rolling up your sleeves? You ready to go down this? Ready to get deep, hit next levels?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay.
Virtual gentleman's handshake. I don't need to sign any
Beautiful.
NDAs or anything.
Hit no NDAs. You're good. All right. You don't have a record, right? Do you have any, like, is the martial laws trying to find you?
No, no,
You
no.
don't have to answer.
Sure.
No, you don't have
My
to.
FBI background check passed with flying colors, brother.
Good. Yes, I know. Awesome. Okay, so we have, I won't say the last name, but as funny as it is, her name is Cindy. God bless you, Cindy. Cindy asks me, what's a belief that you built your entire identity around that you later realized was completely false? Ooh, that's huge. So I'm going to say it again. I'm going to ask you it again. Chris, what's a belief you built your entire identity around that you later realized was completely false?
That's a good one. I'm gonna tie that right into what you were just talking about. It jogged my memory about my first real venture outside of my web design company. Um, because I mean I was a kid, so I wasn't legally allowed to register it. I was just operating. Actually, the checks were being sent to my mom's name. She was nervous about it. She didn't want to have any legal ramifications. So when I finally turned 18, I started my first corporation. Um, but it was inspired by my online handle. And so actually how I got into the online space was at 12 years old, the first online broadband video game was released on the PlayStation 2. And it was the first game with like a headset and kind of like what modern Call of Duty is today. And so I was, playing with peers of, 10 plus years, my senior. And I learned a lot, about life from those people. I've spent 6, 8 hours plus a day with playing that game. And that got me into graphic design and web design. But my first, I had a couple different handles, but the one that I really landed on was Hustlin' Holmes. My last name Holmes, like Sherlock. But that was kind of like my work ethic, even from that time. My life was literally like going to school, getting my homework done on the school bus ride, either to or from, school every day, so that I had all the time available to literally play the game and build websites. That was my life. And basketball. Literally, that's all I cared about. And so, yeah, I mean, like when I started my first company, it was called Hustle Incorporated. And I really like that was my identity. My identity was hustling. And this was before Rick Ross dropped the song, like
Mm.
I literally was like on the cutting edge of that word before it was like as popular as it is today and seen as like in a good light. I had a lot of pushback from my uncle and family members that are like, man, that hustling's like, you're doing something wrong, or like you're slinging drugs, or just something that's not like a good thing. Um, and I ended up actually changing my company name from because it was Hustle Incorporated, but it basically was an acronym for or the acronym was HI Holdings, which was an acronym for Hustle Incorporated, but I then ended up changing it to Honor and Integrity. And so that became the new mantra, if you will, of what drove my vision, and basically my core values to in everything that I do is to have honor and integrity. Because work ethic, that's just a given. I mean, like, like everyone always says like work smart, not hard, but no, like do both. like I'm never not gonna work hard. I'm always gonna work hard. And if I'm conscious to it, I'm gonna try to work as smart as I can as well too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's
There's a couple of spot on things. First of all, the work hard, not smart. It's like tell that to like a fireman or fire person. Like that's some hard work. It's like, hey, don't be so hard. Be smart going into the building. No, it's hard effing work. Loggers, hey, take it easy. Don't have to work so hard. No, it's hard ass work. And there's a respect in that. And so I 100% agree with you. When you do some hard work, you just feel good at the end of the day. So it's smart and hard. I'm going to say this now that we're no longer at that in that company, but Chris was doing that, man, when we were working on the cloud. He would be on gaming. He'd be like, right now I'm gaming
oh
right
come
now.
on.
He would be like, and I'm like,
No.
dude, aren't we supposed to like have like 7 tasks done by like 3 minutes ago? Dude, I'm so into it right now and I got to. And he would game all day, all week, all
Yeah,
month.
right, dude.
And I'm like, how does this
Uh,
guy complete the work if he's gaming the whole time on Call of Duty? Hey, we're not there anymore,
oh
so we
man.
can let it out. No, I'm having some fun. I mean,
No,
maybe you might
no.
have dibble dabbled in during the work hours, but you played a lot when we were talking late at night. Really, really the
Well,
case. Like
yeah,
you're
that's what
still
I
doing it.
play.
You're like a big kid still playing the games that you were talking about back in the day. That hasn't changed, man, and that's pure of heart, and I respect that.
I got an esports team, by the way. I don't know if I shared that with you, but watch out for the Orlando Ops.
Oh, jeez. Oh my
Shameless
goodness.
plug.
Oh my gosh. But again, you're tapping into like just this mindset, right? And at that age, I did some similar stuff too. I used to skateboard a lot, and before back then there were different size of shapes of skateboards. Now it's kind of a universal thing and everything's like printed the same way. It's all generic. But back then when I was a teenager, I would like scrape off the whatever the dumb design was or whatever, and I would graffiti and spray paint things and sell them. Boom, $20. You got that? You want a dragon? Let's do that. I was really good as an artist, and I loved it, man. The spray can, putting things on there, putting my hand and spraying it. Dude, I loved that. And then the world changed, of course, but I relate with you, man, because it's like the the mindset that you have, I really think it's kind of the same mindset that you have since you were born. It's just it gets better. You can learn from others. You can feed it, right? And I knew, and most of the time when I'm connect with people, it's because they had a young mindset of being like a Jedi, and they just got better and better and better. And you're very much that person, you know. And I love how like you bring your mom into it too, and it's like, oh my God, we're gonna. But nevertheless, you still
Oh,
say,
always, dude. I can tell you all the stories, man, that she was worried that she didn't like me going to door to door. She almost got a like a legal citation or whatever from the postmaster, the postal police, because I was putting things in people's mailboxes. And I think I was like 8 or 9 years old when I started making picture frames out of popsicle sticks. You know, like you get a big box of popsicle sticks for like couple bucks or whatever back in the day. I was literally like gluing picture frames, and I had these elaborate picture frame art designs, and I would go door to door selling those things. If I couldn't mow their lawn, I'd sell a picture frame.
that brings me back again. I got to give props to my older sister Lisa, and she taught me a lot in the world. And I remember, because you're saying door to door, I remember I was this little cute little guy, this little boy, and my sister Lisa would hunt me around the neighborhood, and she had this little Band-Aid box. Back then it was a little tin box, and you open up and you have your put your Band-Aids, or the Band-Aids are in it. And she put like a little construction paper around, and it said something like $1. I don't even remember what it was, but I do remember her standing at the corner, and then I had to go up to the door, knock on the door as this little boy, and then I had this little Band-Aid thing, and it said for $1, or I don't know what it was. I don't remember. And people would put $1 in it. And I'm like, I don't remember what it was. And then I walked back to Lisa, and I don't even remember if I got any of the money. I must have got some money. But I grew up around entrepreneurs in my life that really showed me you got to go for it, man. I mean, even though I didn't totally know what I was doing, apparently I walked up to these doors. Apparently I knocked on the door. Apparently I accepted the money, right? And it's that type of integrity, man, that is super duper precious, because we're actually on something. Did you notice that we could have talked about last year, the year before, hell, 5 years ago, but we're having stories about when we were kids, right? Like
Well,
boys.
dude, I mean, there's a lot that's like there are a lot of things where in terms of business that Hustle Holmes persona really did come out, that it's hard to highlight all the things that I've done from the kind of side quest perspective, but keeping that integrity and having honor with what you're doing. It's something I honestly did struggle with growing up, of like kind of blurring the lines. Like I used to sell candy too. Like it started from the school drives where they send you home with a box of candy, and you'd go and ask your friends and family to buy. Well, I literally went door to door selling the candy. So what did I do when I ran out of the candy? I bought candy at Walmart, and I filled up my box.
What are my
And
margins?
yes, I kept that money. I used to, I think statute of limitations covers me on this one, but I used to have a Blockbuster Plus or whatever it was called, membership back in the day. And I literally would rent video games and movies, and I'd copy the movies and the video games. I installed mod chips. It's called a mod chip. I installed mod chips so they could play these bootleg games on their PlayStation. Um, like dude, I had a CD burner in the dash of my first car when I was 16 years old in high school. Like before school would start, but I would have like just hordes of people. I got in trouble like multiple times. They told me I had to stop doing it, because there'd be like 4 or 5 people standing around my car, and like I'm literally burning a CD, and it's like it was like the first Fast and the Furious. And I got my trunk open, and you got the subwoofers and the computers there in the thing, and I'm burning a disc, burning movies and CDs. Like, dude, I've been hustling. I mean, I grew weed before that was legal. Like, dude, so like there is a side of it to where like I've taken risks and I've done things that were, skirting the line in terms of gray areas and stuff. But I always have done what I believed in. Ultimately, is like, as long as I'm not hurting anybody or taking advantage of anybody, work the system.
Yeah. And create a system is what you've done, and I respect. I'm gonna wrap this topic up, and we're gonna go to the next question. But I'm gonna wrap it up in a way with giving props to my dad, who's no longer here, is on the other great side, partying it up. But I always learned his story when he was little. So my father, my grandparents came from Spain. They moved to Mexico. He was born in Mexico. He was raised during the Depression, and he was the eldest of six. And his childhood, again, going to the childhood and working and making money. At age 10, he had to go out there because you had to make money. There's no way, like every kid. And at age 10, he'd go out there and he would sell kerosene oil, right, for money. I mean, I guess there wasn't electricity back then, but it was kerosene oil. So here's this little 10-year-old kid, then 11, and he would sell his kerosene oil. And he would always tell me this story and how mad he was at his younger brothers because when they would come back and divvy up the cash, theirs never added up, which means they were siphoning some of the cash. Whereas my dad was equal. The balance, checks and balances were equal. This is how much kerosene is there. This is how much money is there. It all balanced out because that was my dad. My dad was that. His integrity was on point. But his childhood, right? He had to go out there to survive at that time. And he carried that integrity his whole life and he instilled it into me. Well, I didn't at the age of 10 have to go and sell kerosene to be able to eat that day. So I give him mad respect, that you learn in life, you get what's served to you, but then you also create systems and you can step into systems that you can relate with. So mad respect to my dad. Second question. Cool. Have you ever, and this is from Maria, Maria, but spelt not like Maria. Have you ever achieved something you thought would change your life and then felt completely empty after getting it? So, one more time. Have you ever achieved something you thought would change your life and then felt completely empty after getting it?
Yeah, totally. The first time I became a millionaire. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, but at the time I didn't feel like a millionaire. It was maybe a couple 100,000 there, but still a teenager. I was 19, living in Miami, and truly living the life, man. I mean, I come from a small town, a very kind of country, a town, an industrial town. Um, and moving to Miami really was like an eye opener for culture and meeting other people that were like minded and um, yeah, though I mean it was all about the hustle though. It really was. I mean, like it's expensive to live in a big city. There was a lot of pressures that I had with the new ventures that I'd started there to kind of maintain the lifestyle that I was portraying and aspiring to really truly own. But I realized it was just a facade, and it wasn't really about like just making money. Um, just to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. Um, so yeah, I was living a lifestyle that I don't think most could imagine, unless you've had that kind of high class luxury society inner circles um, I mean, I was, like, networking with, like, the mayor and, like, I was in, academies and within the like, this that I was in the Citizens Police Academy down in Miami Beach. I was a part of, committees that influenced major decisions, that were made in, for the city. I was involved in, public, initiatives for activism. I was in the Miami Herald at one point for my activism on cannabis reform. Um, we accomplished a lot. When I say we, use my partner at the time. We did everything together, but it was truly a grind, man. And I was living this high status lifestyle, um, but it was really exhausting. it was really exhausting. If I would have had the same level of income that I had then, and had it been more focused, and not lived in such a way that I felt like I had to constantly impress or show out, or um, just blow so much money as I did on entertainment. And I don't regret it though, because the memories are incredible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have those.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have those experiences
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But it was just like it wasn't sustainable, man.
Yeah.
And so, um, I was able to like release that and not be attached to having to feel like um I have to look a certain way, or be a certain way to be happy, to be fulfilled, to find meaningful work, purpose, and what I'm building. So
Yeah, I want to make mine quick, and I would just say two times. There was some other times, but mainly two when I lived in LA pursuing acting, did a lot of acting schools. And then early on when I started living in New York City. And really in the nutshell, it's the cliche, the party life, partying in the Hollywood Hills, and alcohol, drugs, women, just all this cool stuff. Everything's awesome. And just like you said, man, listen, I don't have regrets. I enjoyed it. It was fun as hell. But specifically to answer that, felt completely empty after getting it. Yeah, man, I'll be honest. There were times when I'd get up out of bed and just kind of go like, what's going on? Like it wasn't that that lifestyle was an empty lifestyle. It's that there was something in me for some reason over here was like, there's something more to life for you right now. There's something more that you're meant to do than just this, because this could just keep going on every single day forever, right? And that stuck with me a couple of times where it's like it was an emptiness in a sense of like, because I knew I was not better because the lifestyle's fun, but there was something inside of me that needed and wanted to be out in the world. And that's what left me empty with that lifestyle, right? Yeah, man, it's interesting. Like, and again, but I look back at it, I'm like, that was some fun times though. But there were empty moments. Cool. All right, let's jump into this next one here. Um, Diana, why are they all women here? Diana, the most dangerous lie high performers tell themselves. Ooh, let me say that again. What's the most dangerous lie high performers tell themselves? Now, this could either be Chris, you as a dangerous lie you've told yourself, or people that you've known that are high performers, right? Millionaires, billionaires, whatever. Um, that you have seen that they've told themselves that was a dangerous lie.
I'll keep this one short. I think you have to read into it. Like if you know, you know. But I think it's that you can get ahead by overcompensating. Um, you might in one area, but something else is going to be falling short. And so life I've found is truly about balance. It's a beautiful analogy of the yin and the yang mantra, or the symbol, and what it represents. Um, so for me, I've seen in my life that I'm like, I'm all or nothing. I'm like 0 to 100, nothing in between. I'm either on or off.
Yeah.
So I think that finding balance in my life has been the biggest challenge. To be cognizant of being staying aware of all the things that need to be worked on, not just the thing.
Yeah, there's some pieces in there that really resonated with me. And as I break that sentence down, I don't know why it just keeps hitting me, but it's like, I guess I'll go personal here. Uh, The most dangerous lie that I've told myself when I have thought that I was a high performer was that I'm just this high performer. And here was the lie that I learned is I was high performing here, and this is tying into your balance. I was high performing here at a high level. It's like you can't touch me. Like I'm looking down at everybody. Like I'm untouchable. But yet all this stuff over here was in high level, wasn't a high performance. Other things were falling off. but this was high level. And it was dangerous because that lie is really about what is the definition of a high performer? Is it a performer that is balanced in everything, health, fitness, family, job, career? And that's when I look back at that now as an older person, a bit wiser, it's like I'm all about not the cliche balance, but just that what balance is for me. I want to be really good here, but I don't want to be shitty or half-ass over here in my life because then I'm not a high performer for me. I'm losing integrity elsewhere. And I think that I was lying. I know I was lying to myself, thinking that this is all that mattered when all these other things didn't or fell off. So it ties into that balance thing of, yeah. And even if like that high performance has to kind of level out, not that you're not high anymore if you're coming down, but to give a space for all things to kind of work together, and perform together, at a high level. And I think that was what's important to me now in my life, which is why A game is such an important thing to me and why I'm connecting with guests and people that I know that have been around the block, that have experienced high performance, but there's been some dangerous lies that they've told themselves. And where are they today? Like, who are they right now? Right? I got it. We had the past. Cool. But right now, today, moving forward, who are we as people in 2026 with AI and everything else involved? Who are we today, and what is our impact now for ourselves and others moving forward? I don't want to lie anymore. I want, even if I know I'm lying, I want to admit that I'm lying. Right? That I want to come out and say, man, I think I'm lying to myself right now, because that's at least being truthful that I'm lying about something. So balance, man, key. Anything you want to wrap up on that? And I got the fourth one, and then I want to put the questions aside, brother, and I want to I want to do something with you. I was looking forward to this for a long time. I want to do something with you to wrap up this episode. But is there anything that you want to share? Anything that you want to wrap up with the most dangerous lie high performers tell themselves?
I think there was a lot of synergy in what when your feedback, kind of echoed what I was describing. Um, and kind of the theme overall of like this conversation. I mean, it's just um to have integrity, you first have to be conscious, you got to know right from wrong. And there's so many things that you can be ignorant on, just not aware, especially in business, or building systems. So you can't always have a 10,000-foot view over everything and keep tabs on everything. Um, and the opposite is like if you try to micromanage everything and or you get so it's tunnel vision that, it's like, anyways, we could go down this rabbit hole all day. So let's jump into this fourth question.
All right, all right. And this is actually from Carlos. And this is actually from a Carlos that you and I both mutually know and have worked with. And we'll leave it at that. Carlos asks, what's a sales lesson? So we're going to talk about sales. We're going to step into sales because A game is about, I as a life coach and a sales coach, to me, they're becoming one and the same now in my life. Again, something was high performing, but the other thing was kind of fallen off. And so now life and sales and business and entrepreneurship is something now for me. I care for it to be more holistic and more in balance and in harmony. So the question is, and before I ask this, as I said, when you stepped in with the company that we were both working with, you stepped in on the sales side of things, and since moved and pivoted, but always within the sales space. So what's a sales lesson you only learn after losing a deal that could have changed your life? And I won't repeat it.
I got two. First one I'll share with you came from one of my mentors. Incredible guy, like 90, literally 90, not even joking, 90 years old, still driving his Beamer to his office every day, like getting out of the house, like still driving, still incredible on the computer, and this was like 5 years ago when I met him, so he's like a Warren Buffett, but like even more fit and just probably too smart for his own good, kind of like myself. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's given me so many golden nuggets. Shout out, Mr. Randall. You're a real one. Um, but yeah, the biggest one that I always think about is that God gave us two ears and one mouth, and we should learn to use them proportionately. That one really, went home for me. I just learning to ask the right questions, better questions, and then just shutting up. You know, letting the person, it's like a tennis match, or it's like a transmission of upload download. And if you're not truly being present in the moment, really, really listening, and hearing the person, because like you're thinking about, your script, or like your objective, or like just stay like one question at a time and just trust that, that transmission, don't get ahead of yourself, that you'll be able to, that question is going to lead you further down the pathway of understanding what the person really wants, and being able to help them, understand why they need what you have. Um, you know, so that's the first one. The second one, comes from mi abuela. Actually, she taught me, that you should never pitch past the close. And so that kind of goes along with like, you can ask the right questions. You get to a certain point where, like, they're ready to buy. Simple, ask for the sale. Make it easy for them to say yes.
Yeah. I am going to add a second one because of how you just closed out yours, and it is, I learned the lesson of asking for the sale, you know, asking for the date, asking for that person's hand, right? Asking, can I help you, right? If you don't ask, doesn't happen. And that's on you. So I agree with you. I want to spin off what you said. Ask for it. You got nothing to lose. Okay, you get slapped in the face. Okay, they say no, F off. It's all cool. You asked for it. Um, the one that I thought of that hit me was, I worked with a company, an offer, and we were moving up in the offer investment, the price from 50 to 100,000. And I remember I was chasing the person at 100,000. I remember I had the CEO, the owner, in my other ear talking to me, and we were walking it through. I remember I was so excited, a handful of calls, right? I'm going to close the first 100,000 on this. And I was so excited, and I didn't get the close. It didn't happen. And so at that time, I think it was like 18% that I got out of the 100,000. So I thought that the blow was the crushing amount that I didn't get, right? I didn't get my money. I did all these calls. But the lesson that I learned was, and I still hold it to this day, was I did the thing that's common, not just with newbies, but in general in life, was two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. That's the laws of physics. We know that. What was occupying me, all of me, was I wanted to close him because I wanted that money, and me, 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 me. And when I look back at that, I know the person really well, actually, still. It wasn't about him. It wasn't about his needs. Like, this dude is about to drop $100,000, and I was not. It was all about me making the money, and putting the sale up on Slack, right? It was my ego that I was driving. Like, look at me, I'm a badass. I'm a sales guy. And it didn't happen. And so after the sting of not making the money, I started to realize, man, I don't think the guy was even on the call in my world. It was all me. And I changed and shifted things at that time where, man, I don't care if it's $1 offer or $100,000 offer or a $10,000 offer. What's important in life is being there for somebody and helping them make that decision, whatever that offer, whatever that amount is. And you learn that in the field. You learn that by doing it. So as bad as I felt that I wasn't there listening and truly being active with this person, again, my integrity kicked in, and I go, never gonna let that happen again. Never. I don't care if it's $1 or 100,000. I will always listen to this person and be there. And if it happens,
Yeah.
awesome. If it doesn't happen, was it meant to be? And that
Yeah,
lesson has stuck with me.
you gotta have the cojones to be disattached to the outcome and stay true, having the integrity and the honor to give that person the very best experience that they deserve, whether they're the right fit or not. I mean, the right fit just comes down to, a numbers game. But yeah, you gotta have that confidence to trust that, you know. By the way, I guess those are two things. Those are the only two things that can occupy the same space at the same time.
You see that? Who is it? Newton, the laws of Newton physics? That Newton guy didn't know it. He was full of shit. No. That's hilarious. But you got to go through the sales process to know Newton was full of shit. It's probably not him. Somebody else, some other brainy human being.
The
All right.
zeros are just waiting to become ones, man.
Yeah.
Is it two things or is it one thing? Wow.
I don't know, something to really think about. So, all right, we did the questions. That was pretty cool. Yeah, man. So I wanna spend these last minutes with you, these last precious minutes with you on this first episode of AGAME Mindset. Um, kind of not just talking words, but like feeling it, like doing what we do, letting it come to through us and out of us, whatever needs to exit us. So we live in a world, right, where we all work and we all do things and we all experience things, the good, the bad. Um, but I wanted to share with you, and I've done this before in the past with other people, but specifically with you, I wanna I wanna salute who we are and who we were in working in an environment, in a space, in a particular offer, and any offer, where we shared, we gave it, we learned, we lost, we succeeded. But I want to, I guess, give a post mortem, right? To like officially, you and I break the bread of having peace and letting go of something, like officially letting a door close so that the opportunity of new doors in our lives truly open up for the right reason. There's no hangups, there's no this and there's no that. Back to that fourth question, like what's the lessons we learned? So I'll go first, but do you see where I'm going with this, Chris? I wanna make peace, let go on everything up to that point on the most recent offer that we worked on, right? Just recent. And I wanna honor each other, and honor the fact that we do let it go and that we are open. This is my thinking, my mindset. We're open to the universe, you know, allowing us that opportunity that happened and allowing us to have the opportunities of what's to come in our lives. And I'll go first. Yeah, man. One of the things that I'll say that you and I related with immediately, and I do this with other people in my life and in the professional environment, is the integrity. We keep hitting that word integrity. And the integrity of the work, right? The integrity of our work, the integrity of others, and the integrity of the whole of a unity, of a company. And one of the things that I saw that we worked on, even if we were confused at times, was always the pulse of what is truth, what is real to us. Because in sales and in fulfillment and everything in between, operations, automations, it's all tied into expressing something to someone and then following up with that, fulfilling that, bringing that service to them. And I would say we didn't really, you and I, fully wrap ourselves around the full success of that, at least a constant success. There were one or two or three, but a constant success, which to me matters to me, right? I always want to be successful and to help people and to fulfill people, even if I know that it's not in my hands or in my control, but it's something that matters to me. It's how I was built, how my parents were. And so as I'm wrapping this up, I wanted to share with you that you were somebody that countered or complemented my integrity, my words, my belief system. And I know that when we were challenged, both you and I challenged in our own jobs and our own what we did, but challenged overall as a company, I know that you and I had long nights and we shared this as human beings. And I'm bringing this up because it's not all just about making the money and getting the deals and getting paid, the work, the revenue, the scaling, everything's so scaling now. Um, there is a journey that is, it might not be talked about too much. And it's that human journey. And what's interesting, Chris, for you and I as employees and working and doing a job, we had a journey, but the paid clients, the people that are coming through that were led or told, they're having a journey. So we're all human beings are having a journey. And so I wrap this up by, first and foremost, I want to acknowledge you. Okay. I want to acknowledge the level of your integrity and your work ethic. And I'm not going to say at your age, because there's young cats that are pretty badass, but you're not old, was at a very high level, and it complimented me. And it allowed me to keep doing things and to keep believing in myself and keep moving forward. And so I want to just acknowledge you, man, that you didn't just communicate with me at those times at a business level, right? Like we're in a boardroom talking. You communicated and you allowed us to go and allowed me to go to a very spiritual, supernatural place, right? A place that resonates and has a different vibrance in my body. And I wanted to acknowledge that, and I wanted to thank you for that, because a big part of that was you were a part of allowing me to launch AGAME. And what matters to me, right? When I speak, it matters because it affects. And then anybody and all people that work with me, I desire that relationship that you had with me. So, in a long-winded way of saying this, I appreciate you for being you. I'm sure you were that way when you were 6, 12, 19. Yes, you hustled this and that in that weird hustle way, but the hustle that was genuine to you, you brought to this offer, and you opened up and you shared that with me. Even during some of the toughest times where I was in doubt, you're like, brother, sometimes even to say, leave it up to God, your faith. I was like, whoa, okay. And it landed. So, full appreciation to you, my friend. And I acknowledge that because I know that you've stepped away as I have, and you're a human being as I am, and you're a man like me. And I share that because I want to fill you up right now with what I feel really matters, like the good, like the juice, the sauce. And I want to give you that because you earned it, you deserve it. You're a hell of a smart dude. You're a hell of a executioner. You could execute levels. And I thank you for that, man. And I thank you for the time that we had there. And I literally say, I am so good with that door closing and new chapters opening in my life. And I wish nothing but the best for you in your new ventures. So thank you with all of my heart and my mind for being a part of a journey on an offer that I was involved in.
Thank you, man. Thank you for stepping in again. And, um, it was an incredible experience, and it really made it a joy for me to go to work. Um, and those relationships are priceless, and I'm looking forward to to keeping it alive over the years. And although we don't talk like we did at that time, when we were every day and multiple times a day, syncing and masterminding and building and everything. It's always had the feeling like we just pick it up where we left off. I mean, it's the same thing with my younger blood brother. I mean, we've gone maybe as much as a year without talking before, but it's like, yeah, every conversation is just like it was yesterday, and that's the kind of relationships I want to have, and I also want to work at being a better cultivator of relationships, and um, not always being the one, to not reach out, depending on others to reach out. That's something I've got to work on, is making that initiative. But as far as our experience that we shared together, man, it was life transforming for me in so many different ways. And, I truly do see doors as like a portal. And every door that you open or close, you can jump to a new realm, with the right intention. So I'm looking forward to what's to come. And yeah, man, thanks for being on the journey with me.
Absolutely. And one of the things I'll share, and it'll be in the YouTube description, is at least this is the one that I have in front of me. So, and I'll plug it. So the website Hustle and Homes is spelled HUSTLINHOLMES.com, hustleandhomes.com. And when you go and you jump on it, there's a couple of cool little things in here. At a moment, I thought it was AI. And I think I asked you, I'm like, dude, is that an AI G-Wagon? And you're like, no, that's the real thing. And I'm like, that's pretty badass, man. Like, that's sweet. Like, that I can relate with, right? That's pretty badass. So it's interesting how there's just so many things that you see that you relate with somebody and you connect with somebody and you grow and build with somebody. And I know that you and I definitely have that. And I know that in my circle, I know there's a lot of people that would really compliment you and you them. And that's the network things part of life. But yeah, man, I thank you so much for coming on my show and popping the cherry and being the first of this awesome thing that I'm going to
Honor,
journey
man.
around the world. So yeah, man, I love seeing your smile. I'm glad you've got your lighting and everything all set up behind you and it looks rocking and rolling. Because I remember back in the day, you
Hey,
were like,
it only took a few hours, man. It was nothing. With your help, of course.
yeah, you're like this light. One time you had a light here, then you had a light glowing here. I was like a purple Jesus Christ, man. And again, now that we're no longer there, we were doing all of this during work hours. No.
Yeah, in between Call of Duty. Yep.
In
That's
between
right.
Call of Duty, we're like, I don't know, maybe this light over here, and like, and then you're like, what do you think of this? And I was like, I know we've got 6 tasks to do, but you know what? I do like that. No, we had a lot of fun. And that's part of the virtual world we live in, man. So I want to say, brother, thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being a part of things that who I am and allowing me to be a part of that. And a special shout out to you, man, and you and your family, your wife, your gorgeous little daughter. And I'm always going to wish you the best of luck. And we're always just a heartbeat away. And I'm excited that people get to see this because there's a lot of young cats out there that are lost, brother. They're just lost. And I'm like, dude, we talking about? We were hustling since we were kids. Like, let's go. Get out there. Do something. The world is open. It's your oyster. Stop complaining, you know? And they need to see some young cats that have done stuff that speak like you, look like you, think like you, believe like you. So thank you, man, for being a part of that. And man, I'm looking forward to hearing some of these upcoming successes and just being a part of your life.
Yeah, dude. Likewise, man. Much love to you. Looking forward to having you on my show in the near future, and we'll do it again. And yeah, man. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this, I don't know if you had hit record or if we officially started, but I've been up for the last week on AI meth. I coined it. I haven't had more. Oh gosh, what's the word? Endorphins or no, what's the one that makes you happy?
Pheromones? No, pheromones.
No,
Endorphins.
the is it endorphins?
Yeah,
Like
it's
when
endorphins.
you get the reward system,
Yep,
the chemical
yep,
reward system.
endorphins.
I haven't had dopamine. That's the word I was
Or
looking for.
dopamine.
I
Yeah,
haven't
that
had
too.
a bigger dose of dopamine in my entire life from any substance, from any high that I've ever experienced. Than what I've experienced this last week with agentic AI. And then I'm deep down the rabbit hole, brother. So looking forward to crawling out of it and sharing what I found out.
I love it, man. And I know you'll do it. I'm glad you didn't say cocaine, right? That got you there.
No, never tried that one.
But even then, I wouldn't judge. I'm like, hey, brother, it's all good. That's how we got rock and roll, and that's how we got like the list goes on. But no, dopamine, absolutely, and I totally relate to that as well. And that's kind of back what I was saying. Like, man, young cats that can see something like this and realize, man, endorphins are the real deal. It's in us. We manufacture it inside of us, and when you do that, and you attack it, and you go all out. man, the body has a way of balancing and providing for you. And so do something, get out there, be somebody, hustle.
As within, so without. As above, so below.
I love you, brother.
Namaste, brother.
Namaste,
Love you
brother.
too, man.
Until the next time.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Till then.